Hi guys, I'm Eleni. Um, so I wanted to make this video about why it is you care so much, like so deeply, and maybe the people that like I'm just assuming that you're probably someone who wants to like you want to help everyone, you want to save people, or you want to like make an impact, or you feel like you've always felt like you have a purpose, whatever it is. If you can if you resonate with that, this is for you. So everything that I'm going to be talking about, i I've lived it, I can relate to it, I can empathize, um, and I want you to feel safe here with me because I want to show up authentically as myself, so then I can then attract authenticity and real people as well. Um, okay, let's get into it. So, I'm definitely also like one of those people where I've always been like, I don't know, like there's a reason, like I know I'm here for a reason, whatever it was, right? I was always like that even since I was like a little girl. And yeah, so I remember like always feeling like that, but the conditions of like, in my environment or whatever it was I was dealing with felt very like conflicting, confusing, and I didn't feel like empowered or any of that, right? So, and also, I'm gonna be looking down a bit because I have my journal because I write a lot, and I'm I do way less speaking than I do writing, so it'll help me to articulate this message better. But I think it's like really important, before you do align with, everything that you want to align with, like your purpose, your mission, whatever, right? Before you get to that, before you take inspired action, but before you take a leap, before you do that, you need to understand that you could potentially be self-sabotaging that mission for yourself because of you not facing like the root of the issue, right? So in that issue being you overgiving, you pouring so much into other people to the point where it drains you, to the point where you're like self-soothing yourself at night, and then you're like, I'm strong enough, I can do it, I can do anything, like whatever, right? That's very self-destructive behavior, and I understand it's something that's on your heart. However, I'm telling you, like, it's there for a reason, it's on your heart for a reason, but you cannot pour into other people if you are depleted. You can't, okay? So let's get into it. I think something that's really important is to obviously, like, number one, I was always asking questions. Like, if you ask questions and you just have like that, like, curiosity, then you got it. Like, there's something deeper, there's something greater, there's something more profound than what we see, than what's at the surface. And you have that, within you for a reason. But before we can truly like dive in and move forward, you have to have self-awareness. So the questions are a great start, but have self-awareness and ask yourself why it is that you care so much. And honestly, this is going to go way back to childhood. So yeah, you can ask yourself, like, does this stem from childhood? And you can look at your behaviors from when you were a child, and you'll probably see that there was a really, really, really big imbalance of that being you giving so much and not receiving, and people taking. But what you didn't know back then is they took so much because you willingly gave so much of yourself, and people knew that. They took advantage of that, and that wasn't fair to you. It wasn't. But it's something it wasn't your fault. It's something that you just needed to learn, so then you could, because you're very special, but it's just, I don't even know what I'm saying. I literally lost my train of thought. But anyways, okay, so yeah, you can start asking yourself questions, like start looking back in your childhood and look at how you were treated, look at your relationships with like maybe your family members or friends or partner, whoever, right? And this doesn't have to even be childhood. This could have been like a year ago, 2 years ago, it doesn't matter. But your past, right? Or even your present, okay? So you can ask yourself, maybe like in the past, okay, so shadow work, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but shadow work is really, 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 really important. And it's definitely like one of the biggest things that's helped me in my growth. So, for example, like myself, I would ask myself, like, why do I feel so drained and tired after like talking to specific people or after like specific interactions? And then I'm just like, oh, like I got to a point where I'm like, aren't they like thinking about me? Like this is just kind of like draining after a while. Like why aren't they doing something about it? Because you're also probably someone who takes action on their own life. Like you're very self-aware, you reflect a lot, you think a lot, you are just like, your brain's always like this, like going. And so when you look out at other people and you're like, why aren't they just doing something about it now? Like why keep complaining and like just not doing, right? But the thing is then you can get to the root of that. Like, why do they keep going to me? Oh, they keep going to me because I let them. I allow them to. I don't say no. I don't have boundaries. I want to help, but you don't have a balance between helping and receiving. So you don't allow people to do things for you. You don't allow, like people to reciprocate that energy of like that boundary. Like you don't allow, and people can, whether you say things or not, people can feel it on an energetic level. So you don't even have to say anything. Like people can they just know, whether you're someone that has boundaries or you're someone that doesn't. So maybe like if this stemmed back from childhood, you could like reflect back on your circumstances or your relationships with different people. Maybe this was family, and you could see maybe there was like a specific person that was very reactive, and you'll start putting the pieces together like, oh, I don't know how to speak up because I'm scared. Okay, so if that's the case, maybe your childhood or a relationship that you had with someone, whether that's romantic, platonic, professional, whatever, right? Maybe it looked something like this, and I wrote this down. So maybe you were gaslit into believing that you were at fault, and maybe you began over time to question your own intuition, your own thoughts, and maybe you even started to question your own sanity, right? And so you started to feel unreliable, like you were an unreliable source, right? And maybe you started to then rely on other people's opinions and made their opinions your truths. Because you felt unreliable, whatever it is other people said, and you went to other people willingly, but in hopes of finding an answer, all right? Which is within yourself, but it's okay, you didn't know, for a good reason, right? But it's because you couldn't trust your own morals, your intuition, your beliefs anymore. So, for example, if there was a time that you tried, and this could have stemmed from like if there was a time that you tried to, speak your truth or tell someone something, right? Or the specific person. yeah, you received a very nasty response or like a reaction, right? And then when you would try to then, you're just like in your mind, like, how did they perceive it like that? And then you're like, okay, let me explain myself at least, right? Then it would literally be adding fuel to the fire. And you're even like more confused, and you feel like you're very sensitive. So you feel like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck, you know? Yeah. And then they were making it seem that you were at fault, right? Like you were the cause after trying for so long to be understood, and for them to hear you and see you, to receive you in the way that you wanted to be received and perceived. You slowly took on the victim after a lot of time of being a victim. You're probably left feeling very drained, exhausted, misunderstood. You became more of a shell of yourself, and you dimmed yourself and grew very quiet, more of an introvert. You started walking on eggshells in your own home, or in your own relationship, or in your friendship, in whatever, and it was because of that person, but also your sensitivity and it attracts those people, unfortunately, and that's not your fault. But this is why it is so important for you to have awareness, so you stop the cycle and you stop attracting those people to you. Yeah, so you being more like okay, I'm an introvert. However, I realize this now, and I came across this, I don't know if it was like a video or whatever it was, and this person was saying like, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? I'm like, I'm an introvert. They're like, okay, like, but you're extroverted around people that can see you and understand you, and love to have like mentally stimulating conversations and talk about things that you're interested in. Then all of a sudden you're an extrovert. So are you really an introvert? And I'm sitting there like, damn, like, oh my gosh, you know? And so it probably felt safer for you to like go into this cocoon where you were just in your own energy, your own space, right? Because that was the safest space that you had in your environment, in your house. You were your own safe space. You were your own sanctuary. Okay, so yeah, you're walking on eggshells in a space that should have felt safe, that should have like, wow. Okay. Yeah, so but there was always something, and your heart is like made of gold, because there's always something in your heart, like you held on to faith and you knew something wasn't right. Like you just knew like this wasn't the truth, and it's because the truth of everything, the truth is love, and that's the answer to everything. So love is not the love that you've seen in your life, that we see in social media, that we see just in this world in general. Love is the love of, you know, like God. Love is like unconditional love. It's unconditional love. Love is not, you know, people in the church saying love thy neighbor and then going home and then, oh my gosh, did you see blah, blah, blah? That's not love. And you've only ever seen false illusions of love. So understand that the truth is love, and you've always known that. It's always been on your heart, which is why you have this, that you're just a light and you're sensitive, and you can just, you're like, you have like a built-in lie detector. Like you are a natural lie detector. You have that, you know, and you are special. But this is why your past and the people that you've attracted, this is why it was so painful, because you always knew that truth, but you doubted your intuition, you doubted yourself, you doubted your beliefs, you doubted your thoughts. You went to other people because you didn't feel reliable. Going to other people made you feel more confused, and it's because you started to believe other people. You let them have You let them take your power. You allowed it. You willingly gave it away. And again, it's not your fault. Like, I understand why. Okay, I've lived this, you know, but it is literally like you are depriving yourself of a beautiful life, if you continue to live like that, if you continue to like believe that other people have power over you. Okay, don't mind my sisters, but okay, so understand that when something is for certain, you will not need to question. You will not need to question at all. You will just know. And that's when you know something's right. It's not like, oh, is this person right for me, or are they not? Or, oh my gosh, you know, they treat me like crap, but like I just like that. No. The truth is love. And just go back to that whenever you're confused, because confusion is still giving you an answer. It's no. Okay, so yeah, maybe at a certain point in your childhood, you're starting to kind of ask questions like like I'm you felt like very optimistic, and you've always seen the highest potential in people, and just backfired, and you're like, I just don't get it. Like, this, like, is life just suffering? Like, if life is just suffering, like, why are we all here? Like, what's the purpose, you know? And maybe you went to a very, very, very dark time, and you felt like very lost and confused, and you felt alienated, and you know, but that is a beautiful start to ask those questions, because there's some people that don't ask questions, and they just take it for what it is, and they're like, oh, life's just suffering, woe is me, and you know, I'm just gonna live my life and just conform and just be a shell of myself, you know. And again, like, I completely empathize with that. I do, because there have been points where I've also felt that way, but I started to just listen to myself and face things head on, and my whole life has changed completely. So yeah, you can't grow if you don't question or bring your awareness to the issue. So yes, there is a greater purpose. Life is not supposed to be suffering, and you know that you've attracted this video, you know, like you really have. So that's, yeah, life can be beautiful, but you have to make the choice to stop living in the mentality that things are terrible. Stop with the victim mentality, and that life is unfair, and I just have bad luck, and whatever. Okay, oh yeah, this is so true, and I'm gonna get into this in a separate video, but I'm just gonna say this briefly. The reason why you need to stop doing that is because where your thought goes, it literally, like, I forget what it is. Where thoughts go, energy flows. So, and you will then receive that back. So, like, this universe will always prove you right. Whatever it is you believe, they're gonna prove you right. Whatever it is, where you're like, you think that the world is ugly, you're gonna walk over the roses. Someone that's an optimist and sees the beauty in everything because they have that within themselves, they're going to stop to smell the roses. They're gonna be the one taking the picture of the roses, and then there's the next guy over is gonna be like, what are they doing? You know, it's not that the world at hand, that the circumstances are different, it's that your internal state is different. So this is why it is so important to reflect and to be aware, to be self-aware. Yes, stop living in the victim mentality, because it will never, I promise you, it will never give you the life that you want. It'll never give you the life that you want. And also, to want more, like you do want, or have wanted, always wanted, is to know that you can have more. So, yeah. Okay. So I kind of want to talk about, like, this is just going on from what I just talked about, like your thoughts and just like how powerful they are, and like what it is that you're focusing on that expands, right? So quick example, like if you guys were in like, you know, middle school, high school, whatever, and you'd never seen a person before, like you're just going about your day and whatever, and then you have a conversation with someone, they're like, oh hey, like this person said this about you, or this person's interested in you, or this person, whatever, they're just talking about another person, and then you're walking around the hallway and now that person's everywhere. That's an example of that, is they didn't exist when you didn't know they existed. Like they weren't there, you didn't see them when your thoughts weren't focused on them. But as soon as their like existence came into your mind, your reality, then you saw them there in your reality showing up, right, out of nowhere. And they were always there. They were always there. The things you want are always there, but you're choosing not to focus on it, and you're choosing to live it as a victim, which is why you can't see that, but it's there. So you've probably, okay, and this is just like kind of like a rundown of everything that we kind of talked about, but understanding that your thoughts become your belief, which then becomes your reality. So you doubted your thoughts and your beliefs to the point where you felt unreliable. You started going to others for advice. You began oversharing because you did feel like crap, like what you were going through sucked, it was terrible. But then they would then project their own opinions and whatever onto, you know, you, and you would internalize it, and then that became your truth. So yeah, you gave your power away when you stopped trusting yourself. You became vulnerable and lived as a victim, had people-pleasing tendencies. You came off probably a bit insecure, uncertain, and indecisive. You attracted people who saw your light but eventually treated you poorly because of your lack of boundaries and overgiving nature. You were attracted to the conflict, toxicity, and inconsistency in people because that's the only love that you've ever known. You forgot who you are. And also with like relationships, any type of relationship, whenever that person like started to withdraw a bit or maybe tried to leave, whether they were like physically walking out the door or like texting or whatever it was, you wanted them more. Like you were like, oh my gosh, no, don't leave. But it's because maybe in your childhood or just in the past in general, that same person, trigger warning, could have been like your abuser, they would always leave, but because you were just too much, right? So you're attracted to that because that was your life. It was like you constantly wanted to help them, and then they'd be overwhelmed and they'd freak out and they'd react, and then they would leave and you'd go running after them like, wait, no, I have to explain myself, right? So this is why you're probably attracted to that type of behavior. Yeah. So yeah. And then I would just want to end this on a couple points. Is you deserve to be selfish. You deserve to be selfish and to think of your needs, your wants, your desires, even though you're like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. Yes, you can do that, I promise you. You need to start building that trust within yourself again and practice decisiveness. Start doing more if you want and say no to the things that you don't want, and just get simple. Just do what feels good and aligned, and stop doing what you don't like and what doesn't feel good and what doesn't feel right. Understand that you are a light in this world, and I hold a lot of space for you and what you've been through, because it truly, if you've lived that, you know, I don't even have to say anything. I can like feel it in my heart, that heaviness, and it's a lot, and you're literally like a survivor, way stronger than you probably know, way more capable than you know. And the people that you were pouring so much into, and it felt like they just never appreciated it, you need to understand that yes, you are here for something greater, especially if you feel like you want to help people, and you have like you want to do something as like a humanitarian. It's there for a reason, but you're not meant to help the people that don't want to be helped. You're not meant to help people that are just takers and that do not want to give. You are not meant to help people that aren't ready, and that's okay. And also, there are going to be people that do want to be helped, and you need to allow them to come to you. They will come to you. And that's also the point where I'm at, is I've constantly wanted to help, and it just backfired. So now I'm like, okay, I took time to get to really know myself, do shadow work, get to the root, and I know who I am, right? But now I'm like, okay, I still have that in me. Like, I want to do something, I want to help people, I want to whatever, but I want to help people that want to be helped. So, we have had a big fear of being seen, perceived, whatever, because we gave our power away to other people. But I'm like, hell no, like, I overcome that. It took a lot to overcome it. And I'm like, I'm gonna go on YouTube and I'm going to give advice to people that want to be helped, and the people that can understand and see me, so then they can, reflect and maybe do the same, or do something else, or start to explore that light and that truth that's within them, right? Okay, so I just wanted to say that what happened to you was not your fault. It was not your fault. No one deserves to be hurt like that, to feel that alone. No one does. And you're not crazy, and you do make perfect sense. You're misunderstood because you're trying to speak a language that they couldn't understand. You're trying to show them colors they couldn't see. You tried saving someone that did not want to be saved, and you tried when you were just meant to do nothing, to just let go and to just be, right? So there's one person though that's gonna need your advice the most out of anyone, that's gonna need your love, that's gonna need your patience, that's gonna need the healing like energy in your words and your actions. The person that needs the most is you. Okay, so pour into yourself, reflect, heal, and grow, so that one day you're not depleted because no one's taking out of your cup, because you have boundaries, so no one can take, and the only way that you give it away is if it's your choice. So pour into yourself to the point that you are in such a state of overflow that you only give away if you choose and you want to. And when you do so, you are not left feeling drained, because okay, go take the leftovers, is of no loss to me. Okay, so that is everything I wanted to say. I'm definitely going to talk about, there's going to be days where I'm going to be super, you guys are going to see like that passion, that fire in me just like come out. But step number one is you need to reflect and you need to understand why it is that you don't have boundaries, why you have people pleasing tendencies, why just the reason. You need to know why before you can move forward, grow, and align with what you're meant to align with in this life. But yes, I wanted to say something else. Okay, some things that you might want to look into. You can research this, just do your own research. You can look into empaths. You can do empaths, narcissist relationships. You can, the dynamic I meant, you can look into the term fawning, look into that. And then you can also look into anxious attachment, which is, if you resonate with this is probably that style that you've had. And then dismissive avoidant, which is that person with the narcissistic tendencies or is just like a narcissist, right? So yes, that's all. I can feel it. I resonate. I'm right there with you guys too. But yeah, I hope this brought some peace, clarity, and you know, I really hope this is eye-opening for someone or just makes someone feel seen. That's all I want. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful day.